I recently watched this video from Neetcode titled The LeetCode Fallacy, and he brings up an interesting point. He mentions that modern day coding interviews feel like an impossible exam, so much so that they make you feel like cheating is the only way to get ahead. And the main factor that contributes to this is memorization. Now, most of you who've ever prepared for a coding interview are familiar with this. You sign up for a subscription to LeetCode and begin to solve as many problems as possible. But what you don't realize is that is the worst way to prepare for coding interviews. And in this video, I want to expand a bit on what Neetcode said when it comes to pattern recognition, the solution to memorization. Pattern recognition is the main reason why I was able to get into FANG in under 2 years as a self-taught programmer. So if you're looking to change the way you study for coding interviews forever, then stay tuned. When it comes to coding interviews and the LeetCode style questions they ask, they all boil down to some pattern. Let's look at a simple example. One of the simplest coding patterns out there is called the two-pointers pattern. The two-pointer pattern is best used when comparing two elements in a search space. It's also used as a way to optimize solutions using nested loops. The pattern is almost exclusively used in problems with arrays or strings. The most famous example of the two-pointer pattern in action is the two-sum problem. As you can see, here's the brute force solution to the problem. You can see how we're using a nested loop to compare integers in our input array to see if they sum it to our target number. Now, if you look at the optimized solution, you see how we're comparing numbers together from both ends, and we're doing this in one pass. In this case, we first sort the input and then put a pointer on either end comparing the smallest and largest numbers simultaneously. If we don't find our target sum, then we can increment either pointer inward until we do. While this gives us a runtime of O of n log n, it's still an improvement over the brute forces of O of n squared. Once we learn how this pattern works, we can apply the same idea to a bunch of other problems. I found this post on LeetCode that groups problems based on their patterns. And as you can see, once you learn the two-pointers pattern, you can then go on to solve all these other problems. Think of it like this. Instead of studying and learning the solutions to these 12 problems listed here, you only need to learn the two-pointer pattern, and then you can solve all of them. The benefit of focusing on pattern-based thinking over memorization is that patterns are scalable. If you know the 10 most common coding patterns out there, then you have the tools to solve 1,000 different problems. With memorization, you're potentially spending hours studying the solution to one problem and trying to commit it to memory. You then have to repeat this for 100 other problems. When it comes time to interview, you sit there trying to remember if the problem you're being asked is like anything you've seen before. And here's the thing. Most interviewers won't ask a problem directly off LeetCode. They'll usually modify at least one constraint or aspect of the problem. When they do this, your memorization strategy goes out the window. You'll be left sitting there panicking about how you're going to solve the problem because now it's something you've never seen before. Whereas if you learn patterns, it doesn't matter what variation the problem takes. As long as you can identify the pattern and follow basic problem-solving techniques, then you can solve it. Remember, patterns over memorization. In any case, if you made it this far, first off, I want to say thank you. And second of all, if you found any value in this video, then make sure to like and subscribe, as that will help get this video out to more people. The reason why I'm so passionate about coding patterns is that they're like cheat codes, and I hear very few people on YouTube ever talking about them. Coding patterns were the secret that I used to help me pass my interviews at Amazon. So I knew that if they worked for me, then they could work for anyone else. This is what gave me the idea to start TechInterviews.io. It's an online platform tailor-made to focus on teaching you pattern-based thinking and not memorization like other platforms out there. On top of coding patterns, you also have access to a comprehensive curriculum where you'll learn data structures, behavioral interview skills, salary negotiation, and much more. Frankly, I designed the site to be the only resource you will ever need to prepare for coding interviews. I've spent months crafting the perfect curriculum to teach you everything you need to know to pass your coding interviews faster and more efficiently. So if that sounds interesting to you, then head on over to TechInterviews.io where you can try the free content risk-free. While coding patterns are amazing, they're not a cure-all. To get the most out of coding patterns, you need to have good problem-solving skills to back it up. That's why I know this video can help you out. If you can combine coding patterns with problem-solving skills, then there's nothing stopping you from getting into top-tier tech companies. So do me a favor and check that video out right now. That's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.